What a night UFC 319 was. Carlos Prates with an insane knockout. Lerone Murphy beating the allegations of him being a Leon Edwards 2.0 and much more just in this amazing card. Potentially the card of the year. A lot of people aren't talking about it enough, man. This is potentially the card of the year, man. Voice crack. But before we get into it, before we start talking about it, I want to say make sure to subscribe. We're at like 945 subscribers right now. It takes 1 second, man. It would mean a lot. And we're trying to hit 1K by the end of the year. Help a small channel grow, brother. It takes 1 second. But without further ado, let's talk about the biggest talking points that we have to talk about at UFC 319. How many times did I say talk in the last 5 seconds? But let's talk about it. But here we are, Tim Elliot versus Kai Asakura. This was a very upsetting performance for me. I was really confident in Kai Asakura, brother. In my prediction video, go back. I said Kai Asakura, he was going to mop the floor with Tim Elliot, brother. He was going to flying knee Tim Elliot in the first round. He was going to have a good start to the card, a good KO, a fun KO. And this guy was going to be able to go and get a matchup against Manel Kopp, maybe. Maybe he was, and he didn't. It was really upsetting to see this guy go in there and look decent for a round. You know, he slowed down towards the end of the round, and he has no grappling, brother. What have you been doing for the past 8 months? You had 8 months, 9 months pretty much to prepare. You had 9 months straight. Just grapple. Work on your grappling. You know you got embarrassed. You got exposed in the grappling by Alessandro Pantoja. But other than that, your striking looked good. So don't go and work on your striking anymore. You don't need to work on your striking as much. Of course, keep it sharp. Hit the bag once and then, man. Hit the bag once and then. But just work on your grappling. Go to Craig Jones. Work on specifics. Do something, brother. And then this guy goes in there and looks the exact same on the ground that he did against Alessandro Pantoja. It upsets me a lot, and this hurts Pantoja's resume too, because Pantoja, when he beat Kai Asakura, we didn't know how good that win was gonna age, and well, now we know that win has now lost to Tim Elliot. It's so sad. I mean, oh my gosh, he's proving that DJ is just one of the better flyweight of all time. And thanks a lot, Kai Asakura, because I'm a Pantoja fan, and this definitely hurts his case for being the flyweight GOAT. So thanks a lot, Kai Asakura. I like Kai Asakura too. That I think he had some sort of cool swagger going on. And then this guy goes in there and he looks like an absolute fool. He looks like an absolute bum. Tim Elliot looked like a homeless Dominic Cruz. Dude, I have never seen Tim Elliot fight in my life. I did not expect this guy to go in there and be fainting, doing the weirdest movements I've ever seen, and then look homeless like a crafty grandpa and take him down and submit Kai Asakura. A beautiful guillotine, by the way, an absolutely beautiful guillotine. Had just a nice performance from Tim Elliot, and it's good to see a crafty unk get a win every once in a while, but this was not the fight I was hoping to see a crafty unk get a win. I put money on Kai Asakura, man. You're kidding me. He sold my parlay. But let's talk about the next man. The next guy we have to talk about, MVP, because the biggest talking point around this fight, the Jared Cannonier versus MVP fight, was that MVP is boring. Everyone's saying that MVP is boring. That is not what I expected, dude. I don't understand why people don't like watching MVP fight. Like, I must love this sport a lot more than a lot of other people, because I enjoyed watching MVP versus Cannonier, brother. How is it not fun seeing this guy taunt his opponent, make fun of his opponent, and then knock him down every once in a while? He knocked down Cannonier twice. They didn't give both of the knockdowns, but we as MMA fans know they were knockdowns. He was just messing around with Jared Cannonier. He obviously got taken on in that third round. He didn't look too good on the back, but he still looked dominant for the whole fight before that. He's such a hard style to deal with, and it begs the question, this man is now ranked top 10 in the middleweight division. Who is next? Who is next, brother? Who is going to get the heat from MVP? What I don't like about MVP is that the man is indecisive, brother. This guy's going back and down to welterweight, to middleweight, and I thought he was actually finding a home at middleweight. I thought he was actually going to be locked in on fighting at middleweight. But then this guy, after the fight, said he still has thoughts of 170. He still wants to go back down to 170. So, I don't know, brother. You're 38. You got to decide now. You can't be tossing the idea of going up and down a division. You have to decide now, because you don't have much years left in you. If you were 30 years old, well, then go for it. Have a fun career, dude. Go up and down weight classes. See what works best for you. But you're old now. You're 38. You don't have that luxury. You don't have that time. So you got to make up your mind. If you want to stay at welterweight, well, then I don't really agree with that decision. I think welterweight is a very hard division, especially with Islam Makhachev going up to it. But if you want to stay at middleweight, well, then I'd like that decision more for you. And I think that's a very better division for you. You have guys like Reinier de Ridder to face guys like Sean Strickland. You can easily get a big matchup at that division because the top of that division isn't as booked as welterweight is. So I think you should stay at middleweight. But if you go to welterweight, well, then that's your decision, buddy. Maybe we can give you a Carlos Prates, maybe at UFC Rio, man. I don't know. But I think the MVP, if he stays at middleweight, he could be a genuine contender. I really do believe that. I think MVP is actually so techie. I think he's so good. He's so precise. He's not as young and crafty as he used to be. He's not throwing the flying knees anymore. He's not throwing the spinning back kicks. But he's able to do a nice 1-2 combo now and then. He's able to knock your opponent down, and he's so quick. His style is so hard to deal with. And I could see a lot of guys like a Sean Strickland struggling with him. A lot of guys like a Robert Whittaker struggling with him. And who knows, man? This guy could make a run. I know he's 38, but it's never too late for MVP. Michael Venom Page is a serious contender at middleweight. Moving on, the next guy we have is this Carlos Prates guy. I've never heard of him before. I'm joking. Obviously, I know Carlos Prates. I watched his last 5 fights. I'm a huge fan of him. He is Anderson Silva 2.0. There's no better way to put it. Anderson Silva 2.0. He fights exactly like Anderson Silva. I wasn't really seeing the narrative that he was Anderson Silva 2.0 when he's fighting when he fought Neil Magny. I didn't really see it. When he fought Ian Gary, I didn't really see it. But in this fight, I was seeing it, brother. This guy was pulling out spinning back kicks. This guy was his lengthy style. He was abusing the side kicks. He was using the leg kicks. He used the leg kicks, something that he did not use against Ian Gary at all. And I was very happy with this performance, brother. And I was honestly kind of bummed out when this guy trick shotted Geoff Neal, brother. I mean, honestly, I shot up from my seat from just pure excitement, but I was excited to see another round of this fight because this fight was just a banger already, dude. Carlos Prates was having a lot of good moments, but every once in a while, Geoff Neal would land a nice right hand or a nice shot to the body, and it was getting exciting. But then out of nowhere, this guy absolutely flatlines Geoff Neal, being the first man to knock out Geoff Neal in his whole career. I was talking about how Geoff Neal had never been knocked out, and then 2 minutes later, Geoff Neal got knocked out. So very fun vibes from this fight. This fight really got me excited going into the co-main event of the night because I didn't know how the co-main event of the night was going to go, guys. Lerone Murphy in the co-main event of the night. But still, dude, I think this fight proves and solidifies that Carlos Prates is a real contender anymore. Like, there's no denying this man. Like, it's time that we actually start considering him a real contender. His only loss is to Ian Gary, and Ian Gary is not a bad loss. And honestly, I think that was just a bad night for him. And you call that cope. You can call that cope all you want, but I genuinely do believe that. I think Carlos Prates was training for an explosive short striker like Geoff Neal, and then he got a complete opposite matchup in Ian Gary, a long-rangey technical striker, and he wasn't ready for him, brother. I mean, call that cope. He took that fight on short notice. You gotta understand, like, I think people need to realize that, man. I really do think people need to realize that. That was an off night for him. He had Ian Gary really rocked badly. He almost finished Ian Gary on an off night. If they run that fight back against Ian Gary, well, then I think he would win that fight. But still, dude, there's a lot of potential fun matchups in this division. He called out Leon Edwards, brother. Bro, I'm scared, bro. I don't want to fight this guy, bro. Leon Edwards, brother. You didn't want to fight Michael Morales. You're not going to fight Carlos Prates. Just retire, dude. Sean Brady humiliated you. Bilal Muhammad humiliated you. Just retire, Leon. I hate you, Leon. But Carlos Prates, very fun fight. This guy put on very great performance, very dominant performance, and I see a lot of potential in this man. I think this guy could potentially be one of the guys we were talking about when we're talking. You know, a lot of people, when they talk about welterweight, when they say how this is a killer's row division, people got to start mentioning Carlos Prates in the division because all the hype he lost against Ian Gary, immediately back after this performance. Very great performance, dominant performance, beautiful back elbow. And yeah, man, this happened too. What is an Aaron Pico? An Aaron Pico, let's look at the definition. I'm searching it up on Google right now. Aaron Pico. The definition of Aaron Pico says a Bellator bum. Okay, yeah. This guy went in there against Lerone Murphy, bro. And he got chinned brutally, bro. He was doing so good. It is crazy, bro. Because when this fight started, I put money on Lerone Murphy. It was really interesting seeing this fight start, and Lerone Murphy kind of got off balance. It looked like he got knocked down. It wasn't a knockdown, but he was going in there and he was landing some beautiful body shots on Lerone Murphy. And I was cooked, man. The parlay was over. Lerone Murphy was getting pieced up, and it's crazy that Aaron Pico did more than what Patchy Mix did more than Patricio Pitbull did in literally a minute. This guy had Lerone Murphy against the cage. He was pressuring him so heavily. He was probably about to win the first round of this fight. Lerone Murphy, a very experienced fighter in the UFC, has over 10 fights in the UFC now. And Aaron Pico was going in there. He was marauder, pressuring, maxing this guy. He was letting some big elbows in the clinch. He was able to land some nasty strikes up close, and he just kept backing up Lerone Murphy. Every time Lerone Murphy had a chance to breathe, Aaron Pico shut that down immediately. He'd go right back against the cage and just pressure Lerone Murphy. But it felt like after a little bit, Lerone Murphy was timing him. Lerone Murphy was getting his timing down. Lerone Murphy was feeling him out, because every now and then Lerone Murphy would land an elbow. Lerone Murphy would fight back. Lerone Murphy would land a knee. And then we were like, oh, whoa. But then, guys, calm down. Aaron Pico got the momentum back. Aaron Pico landed a nice body shot. Again, Aaron Pico landed a nice overhand. Aaron Pico backed. Oh, and he got brutally chinned. Oh, my gosh, yeah. I wasn't even that shocked this time around, because I just saw the exact same knockout happen 20 minutes earlier, so it didn't catch me as off guard. But this was arguably the better knockout, brother. I was talking about Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates might have had the KO of the year, and then all of a sudden 20 minutes later we see a version of it better, brother. Lerone Murphy's version was so much more pretty, like the spinning elbow just landing on the side of the head of Aaron Pico. Seeing Aaron Pico's head bounce off the canvas twice before it was followed up with a vicious hammer fist to the face of Aaron Pico. What is an Aaron Pico? A Bellator bum. I'm tired of pretending like these Bellator guys will ever equate to anything good in the UFC. Michael Chandler is the best guy to ever come from another promotion and do decent. Maybe Eddie Alvarez, I guess, because Eddie Alvarez was an actual champion, but even then, Eddie Alvarez got a 4-piece combo from Prime Mystic Mac. But I can't put money on Bellator guys anymore, dude. His whole career, he had been chinny, and he got brutalized by Aaron Pico. And it's scary, brother, because this guy had a very bad knockout. His teeth weren't moving. They weren't able to get his mouthpiece out for a while. He was out for a solid 2 minutes. He's been chinned many times in his career, but it had been a while since his last chinning, and he got chinned brutally again, probably the worst in his whole career. I don't even know what to say, man. I made a video talking about this fight, and I got it spot on, dude. I said Lerone Murphy is going to brutalize this guy. I have no idea how Lerone Murphy is the underdog. That's free money. That is free money that Lerone Murphy is the underdog. Completely ridiculous. Aaron Pico, what are people basing Aaron Pico prediction off of? What are you basing your prediction of Aaron Pico off of? Name 5 Aaron Pico wins, I said. People laughed at me. People called me a dummy. And then, well, I was laughing at them when Aaron Pico's head bounced off the canvas several times on Saturday night. It's laughable. It truly is. It really is laughable that Lerone Murphy was the favorite in this fight. I said Lerone Murphy would mop the floor with Aaron Pico, and, well, that's exactly what happened. But in terms of Lerone Murphy, what do we do with this guy? What do we do with this guy? Volk wants to get in there by the end of the year. It was April that Volk fought last. And it's August now, you know. Movsar Evloev, who knows what's going to happen with Movsar Evloev. It seems to me that Yair Rodriguez, I think we're over that phase. I think we're done talking about the idea of him getting a title shot, so that's good. We crossed Yair Rodriguez out of the equation. Movsar Evloev, he just pulled out against Aaron Pico. I don't think the UFC are going to reward that. As much as I think he already deserves a title shot, as much as I think he's beaten literally everyone in the division. He's beaten Diego Lopez, he's beaten Aljamain Sterling, he's beaten Dan Ige, he's beaten Arnold Allen. He's beaten a lot of guys, and he is the clear-cut number 1 contender. It's similar to Arman Sarukian's situation, where the UFC is just going to hold a grudge because they don't like him. They're going to hold a big grudge, and they're probably not going to give him a title shot just because of that. So it begs the question, well, then who's next? Maybe the winner of Diego Lopez versus Diego Lopez versus Gene Silva. But then you got to think, well, that's going to happen in September of next month. I think that'd be too quick of a turnaround for whoever to fight. Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy's there. Lerone Murphy didn't take any damage in this fight, really. It was a quick fight. Volk called Lerone Murphy out. Lerone Murphy called Volk out. Both of these guys are ready for December. Book that fight, brother. Book the fight. I don't see why not. Because I think Gene Silva and Diego Lopez are going to go to a 5-round war. That's not... Both of those guys are definitely going to take a lot of damage in that fight. Lerone Murphy, it's August right now. August to December. That's around a 3.5 month fight camp. Lerone Murphy goes in there. He could potentially dethrone Volk. In terms of how I see that matchup going, I think Volk would mop the floor. Unless Lerone Murphy could get another KO, but I honestly think this is just a fluke KO, guys. You can't tell me that this KO was actually something that Lerone Murphy has been coordinating, brother. This guy was not in training camp doing some spinning elbows. This was a fluke. Lerone Murphy, you're never getting another finish like that again. And Volk's just going to piece you up from distance, brother. Like, Volk's going to absolutely destroy you from distance, realistically. But that is my reaction to UFC 319. It was a very fun card. I'm very glad we got this card. One of the best cards of the year. And after this fight was the main event. I talked about the main event yesterday. But heading into this fight, after this fight, my hype was off the charts, brother. My hype was off the charts after seeing 2 back-to-back spinning back fists in a row. And I was thinking, brother, if anyone can do 3 spinning back fists in a row, it's Strix Duplessis. But obviously, the main event, it was still entertaining. A lot of people were calling that fight very under-entertaining, but we're not here to talk about the main event. I dropped literally like a 10-minute video talking about the main event yesterday, so make sure to go check that out. Make sure you go check out my reaction to the main event. This is my reaction to the rest of the card. It was a very fun card, like I said. And yeah, I got my UFC China predictions coming out tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in the next one, boys. MMA Outpost out.